This is good news for the health of people throughout Southern California. AppleCare Medical Group is now Optum, and we're taking the next step to provide care that's even more personalized, helping doctors and care teams collaborate so you get the care you need, when and where you need it. AppleCare is now Optum, healthcare made stronger. To learn more, visit optum.com/AppleCare or click the ad. Optum and Optum Care are trademarks of Optum Incorporated.
Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today.
The base is dropped on a new edition of Soccer Down Here. It's a Tuesday. It's kind of a strange Tuesday because John is back in a red pickup truck. I just like to imagine he's in a red pickup truck. He's probably in a van. He is covering high school football in South Georgia, driving around. He might pop in at some point, but he is not able to join us, and he won't be able to join us with pictures from whatever van or pickup truck or whatever he is in. But we do have Jarrett Smith for the first hour of the show. What's up, Jarrett?
Not a lot. Trying to process whatever the hell happened last night.
Oh, wow. We'll get into that here in a second. Dylan Butler will join us at 10 o'clock as well to talk MLS, and we'll get into the New York situations. Some interesting conversations going on right now. The heavier conversation is about the New York Red Bulls and everything going on. But we gotta start with how we finished soccer over there last night. This was crazy because it didn't make any sense, but it wasn't coming from journalists that we're used to not making sense. This was coming from incredibly well-respected journalists in Spain, and then it crossed over to where we were tracking flights that left from Barcelona and went to Ibiza and then headed to Argentina. I think it might have landed by now, but Lionel Messi was not in it. Lionel Messi reportedly did not go to Ibiza with that plane. There's a back and forth now about if Barcelona actually did make a last-minute offer. People connected to Barcelona are telling folks in the media that, no, we didn't. Messi and his people floated that out there to see if there would be a response, and there was not. Okay, I don't know. I have no idea. But right now, and we do have photographs to prove it, Messi and his wife Antonella are headed to Paris, where people are awaiting him at the airport, at the stadium. The red carpet's rolled out. The plane, according to TIC, is over the heart of France right now. It's getting very, very close. That was a wild turn of events last night, Jarrett, because everybody had us convinced that, man, this might happen. He might not leave. He's leaving. He's gone.
My favorite part about it is the shift of, oh, no, well, he was trying to come back to us. Barcelona's out here trying to win the breakup. That was my favorite part.
That's one I didn't really necessarily see coming, is now it was floated out that Barca made a last offer, and they're like, no, we didn't make a last offer. That was coming from Messi. Yeah.
He didn't land on Sherwood Forest. Sherwood Forest landed on us.
It's wild. There were shots of him leaving his place in Barcelona, going to the airport. So, I mean, he's going to be there here shortly, and the idea is that he will be presented at the Eiffel Tower as Neymar was, as Zlatan was. No offense to Neymar and Zlatan. I think Messi maybe deserves a little bit more than this. I also think Messi deserves a little bit more than the number 30.
What are you going to do, repel him from the Arc de Triomphe?
Yes. That would be more. Do it. It's PSG. It's not like they can't afford it. Not like they couldn't pull that off. They can do whatever they want. But
parading through the Louvre.
Sure, absolutely, they could do whatever they want. Don't recycle the same thing you did for Neymar and Zlatan. But here's my question. Here's where I wanted to start the show, and I'm waiting to see this as well. Jason next. Jason says, "What is the 30 significance?" I know he wore 30 at Barcelona, and I can't remember the exact timeline. If I remember right, when he first appeared with Barcelona, he wore number 30. He was an academy player playing with the first team. I get it. I think his first full season as a first-team player, he wore 19, and there had been a rumor that he would be 19 with PSG. He's not. Then, of course, he moved to number 10. So I think 30 is what he first wore at Barcelona. Is this kind of the saddest move like this, where you see a player go to a new club and change the number that they're associated with? You know, Beckham went to Madrid and went from 7 at Manchester United. That was a famous number with Manchester United. He wore that most at Man U. He wore some other numbers too over the years because that's what happens generally. But 7 is what he was identified with. He went to 23, and he went to 23 because of Michael Jordan. Okay. He went to 32 when he was at PSG, which is weird. PSG, weird number situations. What are other ones? I mean, Jordan went to 45 temporarily, but then he went back to 23. What are some other ones that you think of that a player moves and you see them in a number and you're like, wait a minute, what? Why are you wearing that?
I mean, it's going to be weird, honestly. Let's rip the Band-Aid off for Falcons fans, man. It's going to be weird with Julio not wearing 11.
What is he going to wear at Tennessee?
I believe 8, which is what he wore at college when he was at Bama.
Okay. I mean, I kind of get it. There's at least a little history there.
There is. It's still weird anytime you see numbers change like that. You just start to associate it. Like, it'd have been weird if you saw
2.
Chipper Jones outside of 10.
Ragamuffin says he's wearing 2. 1 + 1 = 2.
Oh, 2. I'm sorry.
8 would have made more sense.
Good catch.
2 feels kind of lame.
See, it does. But it does feed into my favorite thing in sports, which is incredibly large men wearing single digits. What was his name? Oh, God, who was that defensive tackle for Georgia back in the day? The giant, massive human being about 10 years ago.
Oh, no, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Or like number 6.
Yeah.
The dude was like 345 pounds wearing a single digit and was basically a boulder sitting in the middle of the defensive line.
That's always
I can't remember his name. I'm not going to worry about it. But, yeah, like it is weird when you see somebody change the number. And Jordan being the weird one, like, this kind of does – man, Messi's still got it, don't get me wrong, but it kind of has that weird feeling of, like, Jordan with the Wizard to me, whereas, like, this just feels wrong, and I don't know how else to feel about it.
It does have an odd feel. Ricky Ricardo points out LeBron, when he went to Miami, going from 23 to 6.
Yeah, and that's because Pat Riley retired 23 in Miami.
Why did he retire 23 in Miami?
Honor of Jordan, I believe.
In Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know that Bryce Harper wanted to wear 7 because he is a huge Mickey Mantle fan. So when he was in Washington, he wore 34. I believe he couldn't wear 7 or something. Something was going on, like he didn't wear 7, but he wore 34 because 3 + 4 is 7.
Thank you, D. Graham. As Geno Atkins was the giant mountain of a man wearing the single digit for Georgia on the defensive line.
That was one of them, yeah.
Maybe there's been a couple. I don't know.
There's been a couple. I'm here for any 330-pound plus defensive lineman to wear a single digit on the line. I'm always here for it.
God, the Heat retiring 23 has really got me.
The number 1 when he was at Bama blocking field goals every game, that'd have been amazing.
The Heat
retiring. We'll just ignore the rest of
23
Terrence Cody's career because Jesus.
Yeah, we'll skip that. Okay, Alex Basine says, my wife has this running gag where she is triggered whenever she sees anyone wearing 0. Double zero, and she loses consciousness. I need goalkeepers.
There's always Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah. I need goalkeepers wearing 00.
Oh, yeah. Goalkeepers wearing 1 or 99 is kind of where I'm at with this. Like, anytime a goalkeeper is not wearing either one of those, it's kind of weird, which as far as MLS goes, Bradley Wright Phillips has locked down 99 for me emotionally.
Yeah, in MLS, it's the number most associated with him, and there's really nobody else that I can think of. Jaime Moreno would like to argue with you about that, but he wore 9 at first, and then when he came back to D.C. after a sojourn with the Metro Stars, he went to 99 because somebody had 9. But BWP's been 99 from the jump, so that one makes sense. Thomas with a question, and I don't know in MLS. I mean, it is obviously like in college, and it's very typical in college and some of the lower divisions for 0 to be used for goalkeepers. 0 and 00. I see that in college a lot. I can't think of it in MLS. Maybe it's not allowed in MLS or at the pro level in general.
I don't know. I wish we went to triple digits. Break out the triple digits like they do in Mexico.
Well, they allow academy players to play, so they throw them in the triple digits.
Well, change the rules, MLS. Come on, get with the times.
I'm good with it. If that's
Caleb
what it
Wiley
takes.
Rolling out there with like 173.
If that's what it takes, I am good with Caleb Wiley making his debut with the first team, wearing number 113 or something. Okay, cool. That's it. That'll work. Messi should be able to wear infinity, Tommy. I would 100% be fine with that. He can make up his own number.
I don't know if he would do it because of Maradona.
Yeah, probably not. That's a good point.
We just did a whole thing where we did his date of death is infinity. Yeah. I don't think Messi would do it. I think A, he wouldn't do it out of respect. B, he wouldn't do it out of fear because Maradona might come haunt him.
That's true. That is definitely true. Thomas says Messi should wear 101. I don't think the French league goes for the triple digits, although that'd be cool. They'd probably make up a new rule to let him do it if he wanted to. 00s in Mexico, Alex Pacine says. I like it. The 30 is going to be weird.
Let him wear number 10. It's just like college where you can have multiple guys with the same number. They just can't be on the field at the same time.
Neymar and Messi are going to be on the field at the same time. You're going to need that.
You can't wear. Somebody's going to play rock, paper, scissors for 10 or something. Or, I don't know, flip cup.
Here's what I want to know. What I want to know is, did Neymar offer, here's the 10. You can wear the 10. And did Messi say no? Because Neymar kind of has to offer, right? Or is he big enough to where he doesn't have to? I don't know.
I mean, I would assume like let's reiterate that they're pretty good friends.
They are.
They've probably talked about this before. And hell, for all we know, they went and Messi's like, look, I wore 10 at Barcelona. You get to have the 10 this time. Let's just play. He might not care.
He might not, but I'm really curious. They are good friends, but I'm really curious about, did Neymar say, if you want the 10, it's yours? Because I feel like he kind of should have. But we'll find out. Did Messi say, no, you keep it. You're here first. You're the 10. I'll wear something else.
Messi could have cut him off at the pass and been, don't even ask.
Yeah, he could have.
This one.
I'd like to know how that conversation went just for, just to be intrigued. Because there's so many things like that with this whole deal. Sam Williamson, absolutely. Still can't fathom Sergio Ramos and Lionel Messi on the same team. After the wars that they had, Barcelona and Real Madrid, back and forth. Lots of kind of nastiness between the two of them at times. Now they're going to be teammates. The other question, and Jason Nix asks it, and we've talked about it before, does PSG move Mbappe? I don't think they have to do it to make this happen because, Jason, I don't believe financial fair play exists when it comes to PSG. Right now, yeah, it's Neymar, it's Mbappe, it's Messi playing together. But Mbappe is out of contract at the end of the year. I don't think they have to move him to make the deal happen or to be compliant with anything because who's actually going to stop them? But do they do the smart thing if Mbappe doesn't want to sign a new deal and sell him now, where they could make a lot of money. And there is a certain club that wears all white down in Spain who has talked about having Kylian Mbappe for years upon years upon years. And if you want to go full black helicopter on a Tuesday morning, which why not? We broke out the helicopters a lot last night. There
me here, might as well.
There are reports out there that Joan Laporta is friendly with Florentino Perez. And there are reports insinuating that Florentino Perez maybe used his influence with Joan Laporta and with the Barcelona front office to not sign Messi, to not accept the CVC investment partnership deal that would have helped every team in La Liga, not just Real Madrid and Barcelona. And maybe Florentino Perez was playing the long game of, all right, then if they say no to Messi, we're gonna say no to these huge contracts. We can't do this anymore. It's not right. Let him go. He's got to go. Yeah, okay, whatever. We can't afford him anyway, so that's fine. He goes to Paris. That makes Kylian Mbappe available. Then Florentino Perez comes back and says, ha, ha, ha! Now we have who we wanted all along. Kylian Mbappe, welcome to Madrid. Are you buying that black helicopter theory?
With certain countries in Europe, I'm buying just about any theory, to be honest.
Is Spain one of those countries?
Yes!
Everything is possible in Spain, according to Jared Smith.
You know what Neymar probably offered Messi in exchange for the jersey? Was probably advice on how to deal with the French tax man.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know the French tax man compared to the Spanish tax man.
I don't know if there's anything compared to the Spanish tax man.
No, but I mean, is he in the same ballpark? Is the French tax man like threatening? Is he just a nice guy with croissants? Like, I don't know. What is the deal?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, probably it's Neymar just being like, hey, here's some advice. It's not as bad as Spain. Do A, B, and C, and nobody's going to bother you ever. Have a good day.
I'm curious. Abby, yes, John is invisible, as we talked about at the beginning of the show. John is on high school football duty, traveling the roads of South Georgia. He will join us here at some point today, hopefully, possibly, if he has cell connection, which is kind of a rumor at times in some places that John is going to be traveling.
I'd say John's when John does his mid South swing and his Central and Southern Georgia swing, there's no guarantee of anything.
No, there's not. Ragamuffin with a good point when it comes to the French tax man. Wouldn't the French tax man cave under the slightest pressure?
Oh, well, maybe.
But
it depends. I mean, it depends. We talking like, what era of France are we going to talk about? The old school French didn't play games.
That's true.
Modern French? Yeah, modern French kind of. He probably would cave. Old school French? No. They were about that smoke in a big way.
Oh, man. El Chiringuito's got plain graphics of flight patterns and stuff. I mean, it's madness. It's all going to be crazy as he lands in Paris. There's a huge crowd at the airport. Teise has gone with 6 boxes on the screen now. This is going to be wild. He should be landing pretty close if the graphics are to be trusted. He should be landing pretty soon, Sean Vergara. So we shall see. We do need Jarrett on camera at some point, Turner. We will make it happen, but Jarrett's very shy. He doesn't like to have the camera in front of him at times.
Jarrett's also like quadruple tasking every time he's doing this show.
Generally, yes. There has been dishes being done and cats being tortured and walking through the wilderness, all those things.
I mean, I can open a window if y'all want the nature sound effects. I can do that in a bit.
I think we're okay.
Not right now.
I agree.
That's okay.
Grocery
next
shopping.
Week it's going to be at the beach. So, I mean, next week y'all get the sound of the surf. So
that's just going to make me mad. That's going to make me very angry. All right. Other things on the board today. Tafka has alerted us to a report that we've mentioned it before. Milan chasing Florenzi who is apparently on the market. It looks like Milan can get him, but if they don't, the report is that the backup plan for Milan is to go get another player out of Barcelona who likes basketball uniforms. Serginho Dest could be on the radar of Milan if they don't get Florenzi. If.
Is this just punishment for wearing a jersey to the Messi conference?
Well,
they're just going to exile him now?
Well, Barcelona's broke, so they got to sell anything that they possibly can. They might sell some of those trophies that Messi won if they have to. But that's also a position that they have a lot of depth in. But he did wear a basketball uniform to Messi's farewell conference, which was a choice. It was a choice. Not a good choice, but a choice.
It was.
I don't know what he was thinking. I have nothing. Be an interesting move. I don't think. Oh, I don't know. It sounds like the Florenzi move to Milan is pretty likely. So I think that'll happen. But Dest being linked is, look, a good sign. I mean, he's going to play at Barcelona because they're not very deep, and they'll have to figure these things out on the fly because they've got to sell more players. Even not signing Messi, they still. I think yesterday the reports were that they were still around 140 million over where they needed to be able to register their new players. So they've got to either bring that in transfers or cut that in salaries. And nobody else outside of Gerard Piqué has agreed to a salary cut to make that happen. And you're going to run out of time here at some point. They play this weekend, and they might not have Memphis Depay registered, for example, or they might have to unregister somebody else to make room for Memphis Depay. So the rumors are going to be there about everybody from Barcelona. I think every player will be linked to a move because if there's a legitimate offer for any player in that team, they got to consider doing it just to be compliant with being able to register all the players they want to register, let alone all the debts that are going to come good, all the other issues that they've got. So Dest I think he'll play at Barcelona if he stays. If he gets the opportunity to go, he's got to go to a situation where he would play more. And that's the issue for me. He has to play more if he goes because he's going to play at Barca. Played a decent bit last year. If he goes somewhere else and plays less, that's a bad move for him. It's a bad move for the U.S. men's national team.
It is. It's going to be a matter of finding the right fit. As far as all these teams doing this stuff, the one that's amusing to me right now is Inter Milan selling folks off, sounding like, everybody. Hey man, Inter's got to sell folks because they don't have Inter's next level broke, and then at the same time, you scroll down 2 stories later, it's like Inter might buy this guy. It's like somebody going through a debt relief counseling, and at the same time they walk out of counseling and they walk into a Neiman Marcus.
Well, they're not walking into the Neiman Marcus. I think that does need to be clarified. When they are walking in somewhere else after selling things, they're walking into, maybe Macy's, probably more like TJ Maxx, because they are talking about selling people for 100 and then buying for 20 or 30. All right. Their issue is their owner has lost a boatload of money in China. Already shut down their Chinese club that they owned. They're broke in a different way than Barcelona. Barcelona's got loans coming due that they're going to have to start repaying, and it's crippling. Inter just needs to bring in whatever money they can. Lille is still looking at selling players. So, 2 champions from last year in Italy and France have had to sell players because of financial considerations. Barcelona, not a champion, but a huge club. Selling players, not signing players because of financial considerations. Haven't had that in England. So it looks like everybody at the top level is going to be okay there. It's going to become... I think it's going to continue to knock the dominoes down as we get further along in this month. The window for all the major leagues in Europe closes at the end of the month, so 21 days. You're going to get these other knock-on moves. Now, the couple of big dominoes that are still out there, the Harry Kane situation, where when I hear Tottenham linked with a roughly $100 million move for Lautaro Martinez, that makes me think that Harry Kane's not coming back, or they're going to really try to sell him, because I don't see them having both of them. But that's gone quiet, or quieter at least. Mbappe is definitely one that it wouldn't shock me at all if Madrid makes a play. Seems like Haaland is not going anywhere for this season. He's going to stay. They'll deal with the release clause next year and figure all that out. Dortmund's got a shot to push Bayern, to push RB Leipzig, and be a contender in Germany. Italy feels wide open, but the Italian clubs are shopping at that more discounted shop. Nobody in Italy right now is wearing Antonella's Versace shirt that she's wearing on her way to Paris. Nobody's rocking that in Italy at the moment because they gotta cut the costs a little bit. So there's going to be a couple of big dominoes, but then there's those 20, 30, 40 million dollar kinds of moves that I think will pick up steam as we get closer to the window ending, because it always does, but also because you've got clubs that just have to sell right now. Neymar is Instagramming on his stories back together fire emoji with Messi and Neymar hugging from their Barcelona times. Neymar's getting everybody going on the gram this morning.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, they're entertainers.
Yep.
And not even just, of course, they're entertainers because they're soccer players and they're professional athletes, but these guys take it to another level. It don't mean it in a derogatory mean way. It's a game to them. This side of it, it's absolutely a game to them, and they're going to play it up, and they're going to market it, and they're going to be looking out for number one. They should be, but they're going to play it up, and it's going to be very fun to watch for everybody who's kind of on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be a must-watch, and Messi's a must-watch all the time, and ESPN paid money for Messi to be that must-watch for La Liga, and now Messi's going to stay on BN Sports in the United States with Liga.
It's going to be interesting because didn't BN just make a bunch of business decisions with people too?
Well, they did a while ago. They basically made everybody freelance, essentially, and they kind of gutted their internal, like, they're not doing as many, like, studio shows and that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know if it's not going to come back because of Liga and because of this move, because he was already there with La Liga on the channel, but it does help. It does help a little bit. I'm still kind of blown away that they haven't tried to find a better way to make a go of it, because BN worldwide is a big, big deal. Here, they just haven't been able to keep the rights, and most importantly, even before that, they weren't able to keep the distribution. That's where they really started to fall, is where they lost that distribution. I mean, they were dropped from, I think Comcast dropped them, AT&T Uverse dropped them, either DirecTV or Dish dropped them, and then they really started to struggle. So that was where I first found Fanatis, when BN had the World Cup qualifiers for U.S. men's national team and CONCACAF. They had the away games, and everywhere that I had BN dropped it, so I got Fanatis to get it. And that was where I discovered the greatness of Fanatis. FNTZ.co/soccer down here. If you want to watch Lionel Messi in Ligue 1, you can get BN. You can get Goal TV. You can get the Argentine League in Spanish. You can get the Brazilian League in Portuguese. You can get all kinds of other things. But Fanatis will have Lionel Messi for you. Okay, let's get into some things from the Twitch pitch, Jarrett. Jason Nix. Feels weird as a Leicester fan to not have sold our best player in the offseason. Could still move somebody, and James Maddison has been linked with moves. I don't know if it's 100% that he doesn't move. Leicester feels like one of those in-betweens right now, where in England, they can't spend like the big boys, obviously. They can't spend like some of the medium teams around them, the mid-table and upper table teams that are around them in terms of quality. They can't spend that way. But when you look at some of these kinds of players, I really wonder if Leicester is keeping an eye on what's going on at Barca, what's going on at Lille, what's going on at Inter, not for the Lautaro Martinez's and Antoine Griezmann's, but for those 20, 30, $40 million guys that could become available that are looking for a competitive club to go play for. Leicester feels like one that could upgrade that way. And this is the thing about England that I think is why we haven't seen so many clubs having to sell. They've got that TV money coming in. That helped them mitigate the losses from not having people in the stands last season. That TV money was good. It didn't get disrupted. They were able to maintain that. They're in a better position than a lot of clubs on the continent that don't have that kind of revenue guaranteed.
So I'm researching because there's been rumor up in Glasgow that Brendan Rodgers wanted to bring Ryan Christie down.
Yeah, that had been talked about.
He managed him at Celtic. Celtic has really dragged their feet on his contract because he's nearing the end of his contract. So there's been some kind of hope and speculation that maybe he would sign a new contract and then make a move. So kind of a sign and trade, not the same way in the NBA, but you see it once in a blue moon in soccer where I think Tito Villalba did that. He signed a new deal. I think he signed a new deal in Argentina and then came to Atlanta.
Yeah, he knew he was going to leave, but he didn't want to leave on a free, so the club got nothing for him. I think it was right before the Atlanta interest came up. He knew he wasn't going to stay because he needed to go, and he wasn't playing a ton at that point because management had changed and the new manager didn't rate him the same way the previous guy did, but he wanted to make sure the club got something for him. He did the right thing for the club.
But if you get a guy like Christie, who is a Scottish international, who has played really well under Brendan Rodgers, did not play well under Neil Lennon, but nobody did, and has played really well under Andre Postecoglou so far. I think they had I to tell you this thing in their win this week. I think they had like an XG of 5.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a beat 'em down, but if you're a Leicester and you're shopping for a guy in the 5 to 10 range, that kind of feels like where Leicester is in being able to get value at 5 or 10. That kind of seems like where Leicester can shop and, make good financial decisions while still putting a good team on the field. Can Ryan Christie play in England? God only knows. Played really well for managers that are more progressive in style, though. Don't know how he would fit there. Don't even know if they'll bid for him. But that kind of seems like the range that they can go get of getting guys for, 8 to low 9 figures and then competing against teams that are outspending them.
I don't know if they can get into the 9 figures. I think they're in that 50 and under range is kind of where they're at. They have upgraded, as No Playoff NASCAR and others have pointed out. They have upgraded with some signings.
I'm sorry, 7 or 8 figures, I should say.
Yeah. Daka and Sumare have come to Leicester, and that's the kind of players. I wonder if they keep their ears open, though. There could be some bargains available, and they're a club that could get some of those guys and really be an appealing place for some of those players to come to. As good as Ryan Christie is, I think there's others that they could get that could be even better potentially. We'll just have to wait it out and see. Questions are all over the place because we got all kinds of stuff this morning with Barcelona taking the mural off of the Camp Nou with Messi on it.
It's like when LeBron left.
I know.
They tore down
it's just weird to watch it. They're going to have to come up with a new one. They're going to have to wait and see what players are going to still be there to be able to do it because there's no telling right now. Tom Cato says, does anyone even watch BN in the U.S.? I never did. Wasn't interested in a Barca Real Madrid paid programming when games weren't on. When BN was newer and really doing a lot of their own programming as well, I watched it a good bit. The Express was great. The kind of daily evening show that recapped all the news of the world. That's where I first really got to see Kevin Egan on a regular basis. Kay Murray's now at ESPN. I watched La Liga a fair bit, outside of even just the Barcelona and Real Madrid games. So, yeah, La Liga, being when it was in its prime and they were getting that distribution and they were a growing network, I watched it a good bit, and they were picking up those CONCACAF rights and picking up other things here and there. There came a time, and I don't know what it was internally, where the distribution issue became way too big for them, and I don't know if they were asking for too much from subscriber rates or what, but right around that time, also, on the other side, they started to cut back some of the other programming. And then it was just games, and it was replays of games, and it was highlights of games, or put together reels of things, and it wasn't as appealing. But when they first jumped in and
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today.
Ely jumped in because they threw a lot of money at it to make it a big deal. It was good. It was really good. The Express was a must-watch show for me because it would be that one daily evening soccer show with all the news from around the world. It was really good. The locker room was really good when they had people like Christian Vieri on. Vieri's hilarious. When they had Carlos Ruiz on there in English, was great. El Pescadito. Awesome. Good stuff. I mean, it was great when it was at its best, but they didn't sustain it. I don't know if it was a funding issue. I don't know what it was, but it was sad when it started to slip back. BN has Nisa right now, and I think they're throwing that on their free over-the-air, the BN Extra channel, which you can watch for free on like Pluto TV. It's also on Fanati's, but you can watch it outside of that because it's on in some markets on like the weird HD TV like sub-channels. You can find the BN Extra channel on there, and that's where they're throwing Nisa a lot of times. Alex T, and I could absolutely see this as a possibility. I think it's more likely that he comes back after his career is done to do things with Barca. But Alex says, I really think that when Messi's PSG contract ends, he comes back to Barcelona. I don't think he plays for Barcelona ever again in a season. I do think they'll have him back when he retires to do a testimonial, send-off, what have you. And I think he'll wear the Barcelona shirt again playing in that stadium. But I don't think he is a Barcelona player in a season ever again.
That's interesting because I could see it go either way. Like, I could see them say, hey, we want you to come back. It would be really fun is if Messi decides, like, hey, man, I'm going to transition out of playing and approach, like, being a technical director. And then he gets to Barcelona and opens the books and goes, no, thank you. I'll pass. Oh, God, what have you people done here? Of course, in the next 2 years, Barcelona could kind of try and figure themselves out. Who knows?
I think Messi goes to MLS after PSG.
And I've already seen the memes, and I did enjoy the memes, and they're memes. They are what they are. You laugh at them. It's the idea of Messi, like, getting absolutely mauled by a bunch of plus 30 defenders or even kids who are just like, I can't keep up with you. So we're going to do the thing where, we're going to make you feel like you're playing combat ball every day. Oof. Oh, no.
PSG's tweeting. PSG is tweeting videos. The eyes emoji, and in their video, which everything's in shadows, Mercato update. There's a plane. Looks like maybe Messi with his hand over his Argentina shirt. There's an Argentine flag that I can see. There's lots of things flashing in the video. There was a Spanish flag in there. There's a lot of Ballon d'Ors. New diamond in Paris. And I think the date was today's date. I want to double check this. It's a little short video. No, it's just a countdown clock. That's what it is. Okay. So PSG's tweeting, this is happening. Was the mate in there? I missed the mate. Jason Nix. Man, because that's just perfect if PSG included mate in the video. Did they? No, it's a wine glass.
With espresso, weren't they?
No, that's not going to happen. Come on now. The video is a little ridiculous. Jason Nix.
The difference between should and might.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
Now they're showing the video on Teise, who is all messy all the time right now. Chaos! Chaos, 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 and more chaos. That's what we got. Fabrizio Romano tweeted as well, who has been very busy this morning, and he shared the video. They've got Neymar, so at the end of it, and Teise is now freeze-framing the video to break it down. They've got a shot in the locker room of Mbappe's number 7 on the right side, Neymar's number 10 on the left side, and an Argentine flag hanging up in the locker between them. So there you go. All the chaos. Yeah.
This is nothing. Like, man, fun. Just wait till Echeniquito is going to get a hold of this thing. And, like, they're going to, like, hire Christopher Nolan to produce whatever's next for them.
Yeah, I want to see what now the actual video where they introduce him and have his face in it, what that looks like, and then what they do with everything else. Alex, there were so many flashing things in it that I missed the mate gourd. Very cool. I'm glad they included that. Good job on PSG. Other things, Burned, not a fan of BN. Like I said, like I liked BN back in the day. It lost its luster when they started cost cutting, and it turned into kind of just blah. Ragamuffin.
The only place I ever saw BN, honestly, was at like Taco Mac, where they would have it on.
Yeah. I mean, I made sure I had cable systems that had BN. Before that, it was Gold TV that had La Liga, and they were huge. And then BN came in and kind of killed Gold TV mostly, but Gold TV's actually found a nice little comeback with some of the leagues that are not seen in wide circles in the U.S. Gold TV's found a nice little niche, which you can watch on Fanatis as well, with the Ecuadorian League, the Uruguayan League, the Peruvian League now. Some cool stuff that doesn't get a lot of play in other places. Ragamuffin with a good question, and I kind of wonder about this too. Says, can we talk about Fabrizio? How did he become the biggest in the know in the entire world? Does he own all the skeletons of every agent or club president? Fabrizio did kind of burst onto the scene as the Woj of world soccer, and he's killing it.
You start getting stuff right, people start talking to you. So, yeah, it can happen. It can happen.
It's true. Alex, I am afraid for tonight's El Chiringuito. Alex says, tonight's El Chiringuito will involve one self-immolation and another person gouging out his or her right eye in protest. There could be blood. There could be blood on El Chiringuito tonight.
There will be blood.
That's probably a better way to put it, because it's going to be bad. I do feel bad for the true, huge, passionate, long-time Barcelona fans who have watched their club just completely ruin itself. Because that's what it's done. I mean, yeah, COVID was unpredicted, and I've said it last year. I still absolutely hold true to it. La Liga is being short-sighted in not adapting to the COVID world right now in terms of their caps and their limitations and signing players and what their ability for clubs to spend is. They should have been far more flexible because of the losses due to COVID. 100%. It's stupid for La Liga to do what they've done. That doesn't absolve Barcelona for putting themselves in a situation because it's incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid that they have run themselves so poorly to the point that go back to last year. Last year, around this time, the infamous Burofax was sent. Messi wanted out. He wanted to exercise an out clause in his contract. He wanted to leave. He thought he could leave on a free last year. He wanted to go. He was very clear in saying it. Barcelona fought it. He said he wasn't going to sue his club. He stuck around another year. Played his ass off. Only going to do so much. Contract's up. That's it. They could have sold him when he wanted out, and they said, no, we have your contract. You did not do things the proper way to get out of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have your contract. We know you want to leave. We'll sell you and bring in some profit. We'll sell you wherever you want to go. They didn't do that. They didn't explore doing that at all. Now he walks on a free. That's on top of blowing all the money on Coutinho, getting the money for Neymar, throwing it, lighting it on fire, all of the stupid deals, all of the bad moves, all of the debt. Barcelona was one of the greatest clubs in the world if you loved the way that they approached the game. If you love the ball, you'll love passing teams, you'll love teams that play with a bit of a panache with it and all that. They were that team. If you didn't even love Barcelona, I think pretty much most people loved the way that they approached the game. Had some of the greatest players we've ever seen. Xavi, Iniesta, when they had Neymar. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on and on. Busquets still there. Piqué. Great, incredible, unbelievable players. Puyol. So many. Now, they're a joke. They're a joke. And their fans have had to watch them become a joke because of idiots like Bartomeu, who turned the club's prized possession and favorite son, Lionel Messi, against the club because Bartomeu lied to him so many times. It's crazy. It's crazy to watch. You go the last 5 years or so of Barcelona and what they have done to destroy themselves. It's crazy. I don't know what to compare it to, really.
I don't know that you can, honestly. I don't know what you can compare it to. It's been pretty damn impressive, and because like we've seen other teams in like even American sports, we've seen teams like kind of implode and turn into messes. But they can generally, like...
Messi is in Paris. He is waving, Jarrett. Messi is waving with a shirt, a Paris shirt on at the airport. Messi has arrived. Sorry.
We've seen other teams and other sports be able to just hit the reset button, and it takes a year or two. But Barcelona put themselves in a situation where it's going to take probably longer than that. Take some work. It's probably going to take some luck, some willing buyers on the other end. Like, a lot that goes into this. So where does he go if he goes to MLS? Like New York City? Go to Miami? Can Miami afford him?
Well,
I'm sorry. No, Miami can afford him. They just have to clear a designated player spot.
Well,
can Miami afford to put a competent team on the field?
Well, there's another
I swear
place.
To God,
Whoa. There's another place, Jarrett. There's another place that has been rumored in the past week that doesn't have a club right now, that has been linked with conversations with Messi's people.
They have llamas.
Vegas!
Shalice, come home, baby.
What if you started Vegas year one with Lionel Messi in that team?
Sorry, Sacramento, the line, man. I'm sorry. We're going through a tunnel. We dropped your call. Like, what was that? Sorry, just call us back. We got Vegas on the other line.
And they got
back, please. You got to bring the llamas with you, and you have to bring Chalice back. Just at least, if nothing else, you don't even have to coach. Put him on the stands with a cigarette in his mouth, yelling at the refs, please.
No, Messi. Yeah, he could be a fan. He could lead the supporters group because Messi would be like, this clown.
I'm saying I want him in the stands with his. We will pay you to sit there and shout obscene things at the official while making sure the cigarette does not fall out of your mouth.
Sure, you can be the Philly fanatic for Vegas, I guess. It's crazy. Danny DDT is coming in throwing cold water on everything. If Messi was 25, it'd be a massive story. At 34, come on. What about going to Paris, Danny? Lionel Messi's probably, and I know there are people who are very anti this, and I don't know why. Messi's in the top 5 in players in the world right now, today, at 34. He is. I mean, look at the numbers. Look at what he did last season. Look at what he's done over the last couple of seasons. Like right now, this move to Paris is massive story. It's stopping the world. He's doing a 2-year deal with an option for a third. Now, if he comes to MLS in 2 years or in 3 years at 36, 37, it's a different story. It's a very different story. It's still the greatest or one of the 4 greatest players of all time coming to your country to play. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. Right now, this right now is a massive deal. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you, Danny, in this. He says Pochettino's got a job now. All those egos in the changing room, good luck with that. Pochettino, I mean, if they lose one game, the seat gets hot. Because of all the money they've spent, all the talent they have, they're spending twice as much as the next 2 teams combined.
They are building a 60-foot cannon to fire him out of if he does not win Champions League.
100%. Now, there's also the idea that if Messi likes him, then he won't be shot out of that cannon. But
was it Tata who did that conversation with Messi back in the day?
Reportedly. Tata has said he didn't say that.
I'm sorry, you reportedly. Yes.
Yeah. Tata has denied saying that. But yes, basically, when Tata was at Barcelona, what did he say? Something along the lines of like,
I know you can get me fired.
I know you can have me fired tomorrow, but don't show it to everybody else or something, like on the training ground, I guess. I mean, that's the situation. And look, Pochettino was probably juggling that already with guys like Neymar and Mbappe, who it seems like he had a good relationship with. Now you're adding another big figure into it. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
And you know what? But, man, I don't know how many of them there are, but it's got to be exciting for this sounds like a weird sentence to say, the longtime PSG fans.
And there are some out there, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is the Champions League final is what they have longed for and always come up short on.
The Champions League Messi. Win is it, because they have gotten to a final now.
Oh, yes. I'm talking about lifting the trophy.
Tommy too.
Having the parade.
Yep. And they watch Tommy Tuchel leave and go to Chelsea and win the thing. Mm-hmm. The same season they told him to leave.
Yes. But it's going to be exciting for the people of Paris because this is for all intents and purposes, this is y'all's best shot. Screw it up.
A couple of things before you leave, Jarrett, and Dylan Butler comes in and we talk MLS. Alex Basine with a point. Once Messi comes to MLS, all of the world's greatest footballers who are legally allowed to enter the USA will have played here at some point. That's accurate.
Yeah.
Maradona was not. Well, he did play here in the World Cup, but then he was not legally able to come back after the World Cup. And then Cristiano Ronaldo, allegedly, possibly, reportedly, I think there is still a case hanging over his head in this country.
The care that helps you be the best you just got stronger. Apple Care Medical Group is now Optum, and our doctors are advancing a simple idea that your healthcare can be more personalized, more compassionate, and more convenient. AppleCare is now Optum. Healthcare made stronger. To learn more, visit Optum.com/AppleCare or click the ad. Optum and Optum Care are trademarks of Optum Incorporated.
Unexpected trouble? CashNet USA can take the stress out of borrowing emergency funds. Our fast, secure application process makes it easy to apply online 24/7. Plus, CashNet USA offers same-day funding if approved before 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Additional terms may apply. Visit CashNetUSA.com or tap the banner to apply today.
Oh, man, this is all just... It's all too much sometimes, you know?
Yeah, it is. Alex T says, if Messi goes to the MLS, it's going to be for money, but why in the MLS when he can go to Dubai? I'm guessing there he'd get paid twice as much as in the MLS. Plus, it's easier to play in Dubai than in the MLS. And I think that last part, Alex, is why he would rather come to MLS, because he's a competitor. MLS is,
also,
is by far a whole better
convince
league.
me that he is going to get, like, hey, you come here, and we're going to make sure that you are taken care of. And do you want to start your own franchise where you can just kind of, get it moving and then go chill out if you want to and just collect the revenue off of it? Well, we can make that happen.
Yeah. Last one from Burned on this before you go. Burned says he's a Barcelona fan. Wanted them to turn the page from Messi earlier, play the homegrowns, get rid of all the mercenaries. But Barcelona will always be a huge club. By definition, they're the counterweight to Real Madrid, and that will always be important. He said nobody likes Real Madrid in Europe. Messi was a unique case, and this was always my argument to it, was he was always about the club and the club's health. It wasn't just about Lionel Messi. Yes, he was paid handsomely for what he did. He also made the club a whole lot of money and made them more money than they paid him. Messi could have been somebody that was key to that renovation, but they needed to do the renovation, and they didn't. And they've been so horribly run that they'll always be a big club. They're too big to fail in that sense, and the way they're structured, they're not going to go away. But times are going to get harder for them compared to what we've seen for at least a couple of years. There's just no way it can't because of what they have hanging over their heads.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they restructure themselves going forward, because you don't just pull a Messi out of your back pocket. What do they look like going forward? You know what kind of Madrid is. Madrid's going to have to make decisions as well, but yeah, it's Barcelona's just going to have to. You're kind of getting things forced on you. I think he's right though. Like Barcelona, y'all should have made this decision last year.
They could have kept him. They should have sold him when he wanted to go. That's a different conversation.
Yes.
They could have, if they hadn't lied to him so many times, they could have renovated with him at the center point of it with the kids around him. That's what they should have done. But once they lied to him so many times and he wanted to go, they should have sold him and brought in some revenue, because they didn't. And they weren't able to monetize him in front of people last year because you didn't have fans in the stands. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of things to get into. Jarrett, you have to leave us. So,
I do.
You have to work and stuff. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you later.
All right. I'm going to go get ready for MLS chaos.
You go do that.
Okay, cool. See ya.
Thank you, Jarrett. Jarrett_Smith on your social media channels. Make sure you are following him. I am popping back up here in just a second. And now let's get Dylan Butler on the line to talk some MLS, because we got a few different things in MLS to talk about here with Dylan, because this is an interesting time, I think, when it comes to MLS. Give me 1 second while Mateo gets this done. And let's get... hold on. We'll do it that way, as you can hear the phone ring for Dylan. Hold your thought, everybody. Hello, Dylan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. It is me solo. Everybody's freaking out as we're trying to get things rolling here on SDH with me flying solo this morning. And we've watched Lionel Messi touch down in Paris This has been a kind of a wild couple of days with the whole Messi saga continuing, but he's in Paris. He's going to be introduced here officially shortly and could be in the team this weekend. Let me ask you this, because we were just talking about it. Do you think Lionel Messi plays in Major League Soccer before his career is done?
Yes.
Yeah?
Emphatically, yes.
I do
yes.
too. I'm right there too. I don't know where. This whole Vegas variant that has popped up is very interesting, but I think he'll be here because it just makes all of the commercial sense in the world for everybody involved.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's even a bigger deal, and it's hard to think there would be a bigger deal, but it's an even bigger deal than Beckham coming, right?
Yeah.
And look at what he did to the league when he got it, and you wonder if there could be some similar sort of arrangement, right, with Messi, if that's something he wants to do. Does he want to own a team? Well, maybe that's an opportunity for him in Major League Soccer. But yeah, listen, it's America, it's North America, it's all the advertising dollars that can come with it. You know, think about all of the sponsors; they're all here, right? Like Pepsi and everything else. So from a brand perspective, it makes a ton of sense. It seems like he can go for a few more years, certainly, right? And I think it would be fun. I think it would, it would put a whole new microscope on Major League Soccer, and at a time when it's just continuing to grow and grow. Think about where the league was when Beckham was here, and now where it is now. It's improved so much. So I think it would be certainly an exciting time when he comes. And as you said, it's a matter of where does he go? Is it Vegas? Is it Miami? Is it New York City? Is maybe at the time he's going to come is Pep, who's said how much he's professed his love for New York City. Is he the head coach here? And does he bring Messi with him? I mean, is there a stadium at that time? So many questions, but it should be fun.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to ask you and kind of lead into this, because maybe 7-8 years ago, or even we can include the beginning of the NYC club, it would have been a no-brainer that a guy like Lionel Messi potentially coming to MLS, the rumors would already be there that he's going to go to either Los Angeles or New York. It's one of the two. That's how it would always go. Now, the current state, now NYC, the link with Manchester City, we know that part of it. That gives them a unique leg up in this. But NYC has went away from those kinds of names. Red Bulls went away from it right before NYC showed up on the market. And this has been a conversation, I think, over the last couple of days of the New York soccer market and how, Lionel Messi's not linked to a club in New York. And just a few years ago, that would have been a no-brainer. That would have been in all the papers worldwide. Is there a problem with the clubs in New York? Is there a problem with the New York soccer market? And what do the clubs need to do to better capture it, in your opinion?
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough time for all those. It's complex, I would say. New York City FC came in and they had the City Football Group backing and the connection with Manchester City. And then right away, you've got David Villa, who was a huge success, right, on the field, certainly. And then you bring in Frank Lampard and Andrea Pirlo, less so for them in terms of on-field success, but they were name recognition. How much of it was those three guys versus a new club versus the first club inside the city, inside the five boroughs? So I think they got a huge bump early on because of that. And, we're seeing something similar everywhere, right? It was Atlanta right away, big attendance numbers, Austin big. So you get that in an expansion team. But the question is, can that be sustainable? They changed there's a few problems with what NYCFC is facing. They kind of, as you said, they went away from that. They went to less marketable, less household names, but there's the Yankee Stadium situation that is almost to the point of just not being sustainable anymore. Where, any time the Yankees, it seems like, have an opportunity, they bump them out of there. Right. So, it was supposed to have been a short-term situation, and that's what the fans were led to believe. It's obviously become a lot longer than that. It's going to be longer than that, at least probably 5 years or more. Mm-hmm. And then you add in by the way, we're going to head over to your biggest rivals and play games there. So I think there's a lot of things that have ruffled the feathers there, and which has led to a drop in attendance. And it's just not, the sport here is just not covered as much. And again, we can go into long, detailed conversations about the market and the media market and newspapers in New York City and the such. But for Red Bulls, it's a little bit different. It's kind of strange because they had their whole stadium saga years ago with Giant Stadium and trying to find the new home. They find a new home. It's one of the best soccer venues in North America, certainly. Yep. And then they were going the big names. So you had Thierry Henry and before that, Juan Pablo Angel. And they changed their way to we're going to bring up through our academy. And you got guys like Tyler Adams and players like that who have found success. And they're just not spending money. They're going under that same idea of building up through their system or trying to find these bargain basement European second and third division players, and it's just not working. And the fan base, I mean, look, they've been suffering for 20 plus years, and a lot of them have had enough, right? For fans who are coming from New York, if you're a Red Bulls fan and you're coming from New York or Long Island, it isn't easy to get out to Harrison, right? So there's so many factors involved. But I think ultimately it just comes down to a winning team and how the team plays. And the Red Bulls haven't been successful the last couple of years, certainly. And New York City has, but with those names and it's changing. So it's a lot of dynamics, man, up here. It's like I said, I can go on for, that could be a couple hours of a conversation that we have just about what it's like up here. But yeah, no, that's kind of the short of it, I guess.
No, we do have some other things I want to get into, but I want to ask you one more about Red Bulls because this is starting to become a topic for this season, and I think that's the more important thing. So Gerhard Struber's come in. I think we're expected to kind of double down on the Red Bull mentality, the Red Bull way of playing, the press. They've went to a little bit more of a diamond this year as opposed to the 4-2-3-1 that we saw in the past and then the 4-2-2-2 kind of box. It's looked a little different. It hasn't been consistently as effective, but now it seems like there's some issues and some players maybe not buying into either the Red Bull philosophy or Gerhard Struber specifically, and things have kind of cratered a little bit here lately. Do you have any sense of what's going on there, and is Struber on a hot seat?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it speaks to sort of where is winning for this team, like in terms of importance, right? Because if it is of the utmost importance, one, you would say, well, you should spend money, right? You've got an opportunity, you've got designated player spots, and they don't spend the money. If they spend some money, they've not spent it well. So, yeah, look, if winning MLS Cup is of the utmost importance, then you would say, yes, he should be on a hot seat. I saw some crazy stat where it said like clubs that he's managed when they've fallen behind, he's got a horrible like 22-3, something crazy of a record. Yeah, I was against, the whole Chris Armas thing. And again, that could be a whole nother conversation. I didn't think Chris Armas got enough support right from above. Is basically what it came down to. For all those everything I just said. So they claim that they were giving him more support, and Thelwell comes in, and now we're going to spend a little bit of money. But here they are in arguably the worst situation they were last year, right? They're on the outside looking in. They've just played their worst game of the year. They were horrible against Chicago. And all of the, you could lose a match, but then when you see a lot of the body language, that's what becomes troubling, right?
Yep.
When you see a Christian Caceres, who's a national team player for Venezuela, now you could say Venezuela is in Argentina or Brazil, but look, they're still in CONMEBOL, right? They still have Joseph Martinez as part of that team, so there's quality players on that side. He's a starting midfielder for Venezuela. When you see him subbed out after 18 minutes, and this is a guy who's supposed to be a defensive midfielder, right? One of the top, MLS has had him as a top 22, under 22, whatever, for a couple of years now. He gets subbed out after 18 minutes. He's kicking things on the sideline. And then Struber says after the match, well, yeah, he didn't look so great in pregame. So we wanted to give him a little bit of a run, but he's tired. Dude, that's not tired. That's just not playing well. And you're trying to protect your player, but then you're subbing him out after 18 minutes. What does that do to him?
You're putting the blame on him with that sub.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look. It's not a good look overall. I mean, they get a cosmetic goal at the end by Barlow, but it's interesting. One of the things I was thinking about coming into today was like the Revolution, just a short ride up 95 from Red Bull with a former Red Bull coach at that in Bruce Arena. They've got, you could argue they have 4 maybe MLS best 11 players this year. Right, Matt Turner, Gustavo Bo, Carlos Heel, and Tajon Buchanan. How many do the Red Bulls have? How many All-Stars did they have? Caden Clark was arguably the face of this club, right? Like the next guy, the next Tyler Adams kind of guy. He's going to Europe, and he's regressed this year. I haven't seen anybody pick up their game this year under Struber. So, look, there's a lot of troubling signs at Red Bull, and they've made the playoffs 11 straight years. That's in serious jeopardy right now.
Yeah, it's been weird to watch them since they were here, a month or so ago, and it's a good competitive game. I mean, it was kind of what you expect with Atlanta and the Red Bulls, and they've went into the tank since, losing 3 of 4. There isn't anybody that scares you in that team. And no one has stepped up. I mean, Sean Davis is a guy that I've always liked in the league. Sean Davis has been Sean Davis. But when Sean Davis is your best player in the season, that says all you need to say. And
have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores. Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
It's not even about the spending to me, because there are teams ahead of the Red Bulls that are probably spending in the ballpark of what the Red Bulls are spending that are getting better results. And the long-term question is probably one that we'll save for another conversation is, do the Red Bulls ever invest more and try to make this a little bit bigger, or are they happy just developing, selling guys on, moving guys to other clubs in Europe, that sort of thing? But even if that's your goal, they're not doing that effectively right now. So
yeah, you're right.
It's just nothing is working at the moment from a marketing, from a results perspective, and even from that development side. Caden Clark was a guy who was outside of the system that they went and identified and brought in and did really well with it. But, Kyle Duncan.
Well, when their system.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, when their system was really, really good, NYCFC wasn't part of the equation, right? Now You've got a second MLS team kind of in the same waters. And you've got to say NYCFC, and since they've been here, have done a better job on the academy side of developing players than the Red Bulls have, right? And that's been Red Bull's biggest thing. But look at all the guys that NYCFC has produced since they've been part of Major League Soccer.
Yeah, that's huge. And that was really the pivot that the Red Bulls made when they decided not to be the club that would bring in a Thierry Henry anymore when NYC was coming, because, look, NYC made it pretty clear they were going to go get the David Villas and the Frank Lampards and the Pirlos and be that big spending club. Red Bull said, we're not going to compete with that, which wasn't a bad idea at the time. Well, it's like, let's double down. Let's be a development. We've got the other clubs in Europe. Let's develop talent. But they're not doing that effectively either at the moment. So it's rough. Let's get into the Eastern Conference. You mentioned New England. New England is starting to pull away a little bit in general in the Supporters' Shield. They're 6 points clear, 12-3-4. New England, for me, has to be the favorite for MLS Cup today because they feel like maybe the most balanced team in MLS, and they have the MVP in Carlos Gil.
Yeah, I agree. And look at the, look at the midfield. Gil's out, and they just they work a few different things. Tajon Buchanan plays a little more centrally. Tommy McNamara, Buxa drops in a little bit deeper. They still have a response, and which to me really speaks volumes to how good a team they are. Right, when you could lose who you'd have to say is the favorite to win the MVP award, who is on the verge of shattering the league's all-time assist mark in a season set by Carlos Valderrama, and you could lose him for the last, 3 matches and still come away with points in all of them, I think is remarkable, right? And you've got different ways you can play as well. You could play with your 2 strikers with Buxa and Bo. You can play with 1 striker. You could bring in Bunbury for minutes. I mentioned McNamara before, and that's not even talking about the back, right? With Bai and Kessler and of course Farrell, who's been a rock there, and the best goalkeeper in MLS, and Matt Turner. So yeah, they've got it going on, and I think it also speaks to how serious they are about making a run this year. When you see just at the end of the transfer window, Buchanan being linked, and talk about him going, and Arena was steadfast to say he's not going anywhere, not this year, right? We need him. We're making a run. He can go in the off season. But look, they've, they are the favorite, and they're on the trajectory to potentially challenge LAFC as to having the best regular season in MLS history. They're just about there. So I think, it speaks volumes to what they've done. And I think a lot of credit has to go certainly to Bruce Arena, right? Because even if some of the players, a heel was brought in by Brad Friedel, Arena's done his magic and has turned this team into a title contender, the title favorite.
And he's done it in a way that, LAFC coming into the league, you go out and you get Carlos Vela. They spent on the South American guys. They got the return from that. Atlanta went out and spent. They didn't bring in a guy like Vela at that point in his career. They went and brought a lot of young guys they hit on. They brought one of the most talented players in Miguel Almiron that we've seen in the league. They hit early. The Revs, Carlos Gil has that Premier League experience, has that La Liga experience, but wasn't a big name that everybody was jumping up and down about. Gustavo Bo was somebody that I think Bruce had scouted before when he was at Xolos, so we knew about him, and when he went to New England, it felt like that was an immediate move they wanted to make. But he's also developing guys. I mean, Turner wasn't a name. He had started to get some time before. Brandon Bai is a converted attacker from college who's turned into one of the better right backs in the league. DeJuan Jones is one of the best left backs in the league, another converted attacker. Buchanan wasn't somebody that was coming out of college who everybody said was going to be the next big thing. Henry Kessler comes out of college and is playing well. I mean, they're getting those unsung guys as well, and it's a credit to Bruce and it's a credit to the Revs front office for getting the right mix of guys. I think they have the most balanced 11 plus in the league. They're good top to bottom.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, how many teams can survive missing their best player, and especially the guy who's now that link between, your back line and your attack, and who gives Bo and Buxa the service and is phenomenal at set pieces. They're fine. I mean, they're not fine, right? But they're doing okay without him. And from all indications it's not going to be a serious, not going to be a long-term situation. So yeah, listen, they're humming right now. And it's funny, but they've got kind of that unique home field advantage where, like, Atlanta's got a great home field advantage because of their fans, but Gillette, you talk to players around the league and everyone says they hate playing there, right? It's the turf, and it's just a tough place to play. That's now going in their favor as well. So, listen, everything's going right now for the Revs.
And it feels like they're, you look at the rest of the league and you look at who's chasing them for the Supporter Shield and in the East as well, and there's questions about everybody else. Kansas City's very, very good. Are they good enough now with Busio leaving? Is the new acquisition going to be good enough for them to catch up? Seattle's lost 3 of 5. The Galaxy looked like they couldn't beat Seattle earlier in the season. Got to get Chicharito back going for them. Orlando, 3 results in a row, but a couple of draws in a row. So are they elite? NYC has really come on lately, but they've got back-to-back draws. I don't know if there's anybody who I would put at the same level as New England right now.
The only team I would say is Seattle because they're getting healthier. Because now you've got Brad Smith and obviously you've got their main cog and Nico Lodero back. Knew who's going to come back. You're still missing Stephen Fry, and of course Jordan Morris is a longer term situation. But I would put them as that only other team, I think, who are a serious, legit contender. Obviously, some teams can make runs, but from a consistency standpoint, I think it's Seattle as your only true challenger right now.
Now let's talk about some teams a little bit further back that could make runs, and we've mentioned them before. LAFC and Atlanta, they face off this weekend, and I think when this game was booked for national TV, nobody thought that you'd be looking at, in the overall table, Team 15 and Team 20 facing off. And I think the script is flipped a little bit for both of these teams at the moment, because now it feels like a desperation kind of game, because LAFC's lost 3 of 5. They've lost 2 in a row. Atlanta, on the flip side, is coming off of a successful road trip with 4 points out of 2 games and a win in Columbus. This feels like a game that if there is a loser, they're going to be in a bad way the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say there might be more pressure here on LAFC, right? Because of the form they're on. I think that was a great win. And I'm sure you've detailed it really well and in depth for Atlanta, to go to, and look, Columbus has been struggling too, but you go there without Joseph. Barco pulls in a performance that everyone has expected to see from him. And from all indications, and you're right there, the players love to play for Rob Valentino. So I think that could be a big jumping off point for Atlanta here to make a run, but they're in a situation where, in the East, there's still so much of the season left, but you can't get too below that playoff line, right? So, and you can't have too many teams to have to jump. That's going to be hard to do. So, it's a pivotal time. They need to get their points. They're home as well, and LAFC is a team that is struggling as well. And, one of their better players in Eddie Segura now out for the season with an ACL. We joked about it early in the season, but I think we're getting to the point of realistically wondering if this is an unsuccessful season, if and who would have thought this could have been the case, right? If LAFC does not make the playoffs, you got to say there's likely to be a coaching change there, right? Because you've gone with Bob Bradley from the beginning. There's been successful runs. They've just not quite gotten to where they expect to be. And then on top of that, to make matters worse, you've got Greg Vanny just down the road doing what he's doing and having a resurgence with the Galaxy. So I think a lot of there's still going to be a lot of eyes on that one for sure for a lot of reasons, just maybe not the same reasons. It's not that Joseph Vela, two of the top 4 teams in the league sort of matchup. I think that was envisioned when it was booked for national television.
Yeah, I think it'll still be a really compelling match. And you mentioned Rob Valentino, and we talked about Bruce Arena earlier, knowing the players, getting the most out of the players he's got. And not all of them were big names. Rob Valentino's getting the most out of the players he's got right now. He's about to get Luis Araujo from Lille into the mix, which gives Atlanta another dangerous attacker, especially on the dribble. Do you think the league has started to show again how important it is to have that baseline of knowledge inside? I mean, Atlanta had success with Tata Martino, and Frank de Boer won trophies as well without that baseline of MLS knowledge. But you look at the top of the league right now, it's Bruce, it's Peter Vermes, it's Brian Schmetzer, it's Greg Vanny, it's Oscar Pereja, who grew up in the league, starting in the academy side in Dallas, played in the league. It's really, you're getting down to 6 with Ronnie Dyla, who came in from the outside, who's having that level of success. And you go past that, and then you're going to Hernan Losada in D.C., who's been a revelation this year. Now, how important is it to you for teams, as whether you're looking to rebuild, like the Red Bulls might be, like maybe LAFC is, that you have to have a manager who understands how unique MLS is to be successful?
I would say it's very important. It's not absolutely necessary, but if it's not absolutely necessary, you need someone pretty darn close to that head coach, whether it's an assistant or a technical director who has that, knowledge, that experience. So in NYCFC's case, right, like you've had managers who didn't have that MLS connection, but then you had a Claudio Reyna, right, pulling the strings from above, who certainly did. I think I would say it's vitally important. But now you look too, right, at clubs like San Jose and Cincinnati, who are both looking for general managers or technical directors, whatever the title you want to say, and they're both saying it needs to be someone with MLS experience. So I think in one of those two positions, it's very important. If you don't have it in either, I think that's not good at all. So, and I think that's borne out. And that's the case right now in Red Bulls, right? You've got Thelwell and Struber, who neither have MLS experience. So that was the case in Cincinnati for all those years as well. So not all those years, they've only been a couple of years, but for their time in MLS. So yes, I think it's important. And it is interesting to kind of see how the dynamic has shifted to where the success is coming from. And yeah, like you mentioned, so well, it's all the top guys or the top teams right now have either MLS lifers or people who are obviously very experienced, in Major League Soccer.
And now we've got the rumors in Atlanta with Gonzalo Pineda potentially coming here to be a manager who's been an assistant in the league for a number of years. So I'm fascinated at how that goes over time and how we see people who do want to come into the league and work in the league, what route they take. I'm almost wondering if we see more players who come and play in the league decide to stay on as coaches and work their way up, like Laurent Simon in Montreal, joining the coaching staff.
I think Michael Bradley is a perfect guy for that, right?
Absolutely. Some of those players who, we've seen it now, like, Vermes played in the league. Vermes had a long career before that. Vanny played in the league. Pereja played in the league. You're getting the Jim Curtin, obviously, in his success, Robin Fraser, and we can go on and on. You're getting those guys who had that early MLS experience. But now MLS is a completely different animal, and you're going to see some of these legends of the league. Some of them will go into coaching. Michael Bradley feels like a no-brainer. Simon in Montreal is somebody I think, maybe to pay attention to as a future manager one day. There's going to be more and more of those. And it's very healthy for the league, and it's going to serve the league really, really well.
100% agree.
Can't wait to see it. Last question for you. We look at the table right now. Who on the outside of the playoff pictures in the East or the West, who do you think is the most likely to climb into a playoff spot when all is said and done?
All right, let me take a quick glance.
In the East, you got Montreal, Red Bulls, Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, Cincy, Toronto on the outside. In the West, you got RSL, Dallas, San Jose.
I'm gonna say, so in the East, I'm gonna say, and I'm not saying it because of who are listening, but I'm gonna say Atlanta. Honestly, I mean, look, I
Tell
think,
me why.
I think Red Bulls are trending down. Chicago is too up and down. I think Montreal is a little bit too up and down. Miami, again, they're a team that's given some spurts, but I don't see it with three older designated players to kind of play that way through the whole season. And then I think Cincinnati and Toronto are a little bit too further down the list. So I think it's Atlanta who can climb there. In the West, let me see. I will say West is tougher. I'll say Dallas, the way that they're kind of trending right now.
They have fixed it.
They're
3 wins out of 4.
Yeah, they're Lucci's figured out sort of the best place to have Ricardo Pepi, and Hara's kind of become now this super sub. I don't see the teams below them making a run. Salt Lake is always going to be right around that line. I mean, if you look at it too, the way it's trending right now, I don't see LAFC staying above it. So I could even see two teams from there, maybe a Salt Lake and a Dallas making that jump.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be a wild ride. It's so tight, especially in the West. I mean, you go all the way down to San Jose. They are 2 points out of 6th place, and they're in 10th. Does Houston get hot? It doesn't look like it right now with back-to-back losses. Vancouver hasn't lost in 5. I mean, 4 straight draws, but you get a goal here.
And now they've got their designated player playmaker and Ryan Gold, so that's a guy they've desperately missed. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly not – there's nothing in MLS other than this new Landon Donovan statue that's set in stone, right? So everything is there to play for, certainly week to week.
Who is the next MLS figure who deserves a statue after Landon gets his?
Man, that was a great question. I think they posed that on Extra Time.
I didn't mean to steal it.
That. No, it's all good. It's all good. You know what's funny? I would say, and I'm going to give you a person, and I am stealing it from Andrew Wiebe. I got to admit.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a person that I think should be the guy who would never allow himself to be the guy while he's still there.
Okay.
And that's Peter Vermees.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right? Like he would never allow the first bit of concrete to go while he's on the job. But when he retires or he steps aside, I think you need a Peter Vermees statue, Peter Vermees Way or something out there. And I don't know, maybe Bruce Arena needs it in a few different places, right? Like just have his have him out in New England and LA and a few different
DC's
places.
going to want one too.
Yeah, man, of course.
Man, Peter Vermees, when he retires, if there is a book announced that Peter Vermees is going to do or cooperate with or do an autobiography, I am on the pre-sale list for that. He is such an impressive person in what he's done in Kansas City, and I think it'd be fascinating to hear those stories from him. He's an MLS legend for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. Well, what's coming up for you? No more Gold Cup, so you're off of that, but we got a ton of games going on right now. I'm sure you're keeping pretty busy
Leagues
on the
Cup,
website.
Here we are.
Craziness.
Right, Leagues Cup is right here today.
That's true. Leagues Cup is back. God, we almost forget that.
Champions League's back, right? Philly and Azteca. There's so many storylines.
You're a very busy guy at MLSsoccer.com, Dylan. Thanks for carving out some time. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Definitely.
Dylan Butler, Dylan_Butler. Make sure you are following him. So he will be with us on Tuesdays on the show, usually 9:30, but we have to get a little creative sometimes because of the rundown of the show. Give me 1 second. We will have my video back on Twitch right about now. Mateo had some limitations there because of Dylan being on the road. Had to call him up. There we go. Awesome. Yes, you could make the statue, Jason Nix, of the Peter Vermes GIF if you want to, if you can find a way, of the famous Peter Vermes GIF, where he makes a statement 3 different ways, says the same 2 words that I'm not going to repeat, and they're in the form of an exclamation, a declaration, and a question. And it's amazing. It's one of the most impressive uses of the English language I have ever seen. Okay. Lots of comments, lots of thoughts. Couple things that I'll clean up here that I saw throughout the Twitch pitch as we were talking. Luis Araujo is speaking to the media today alongside Carlos Bocanegra at 11:30. That is going to be a Zoom interview. I do not know where the current status is with Luis Araujo and his availability for the weekend, Sunday against LAFC. I'm sure we'll get that answer at 11:30. It is not going to be live streamed to the public. It is a Zoom interview. I would assume some clips might be made available, and all your usual suspects who tweet about these things are going to be tweeting about it, anything that is said. So there you go. 11:30 today. Make sure you are following on the Twitters for updates from that availability. Leagues Cup. That was something we just talked about, and that was a question. Who is playing in the Leagues Cup, Shiva asks. You've got Sporting Kansas City at 8 o'clock tonight, ESPN2 and TUDN hosting Club León. 10 o'clock tonight, you've got Seattle hosting Tigres, ESPN2 and TUDN. Tomorrow in Leagues Cup, 8 o'clock, NYC hosting Pumas at Yankee Stadium. Thursday in Leagues Cup, Orlando hosting Santos Laguna. 4 teams from MLS, 4 teams from Mexico. Single games, semifinals, and a final in Vegas. That is the Leagues Cup this year. I hope this grows. I want more of these games. I really, really want more of these games. I want Atlanta to be in more of these games. This is a very important way of growing the business side and building those relationships, and it's a great test on the field. So Leagues Cup tonight, doubleheader on ESPN2. Tomorrow's game I only see on TUDN along with the Thursday game, the Orlando game. I think they're available on ESPN Plus as well. Mr. Fantastic asked about Champions League next year. I have no idea how they're going to sort that out. I think they would be very reluctant to give Atlanta a second time in the Champions League based off the 2019 U.S. Open Cup trophy. Anything's possible. I think they'll find a way to rewrite the rules, and they won't allow that to happen. I think they'll find a way to give it to somebody else. I don't know exactly how. I have no problem if they want to give it to Atlanta and let them play in the Champions League again, but I think they'll probably try to not do that, would be my guess. Shiva asked about Leagues Cup tonight and says, do you think MLS teams will field first choice? Last year they did not. Or was it last year? Was it 2019? The first year of Leagues Cup they did not. And there was some friction with that. I think RSL was the only team who did. That was where Mike Petke got himself in trouble with things he had to say to a referee crew that were entirely inappropriate. I hope they do. I think they need to. I think the understanding now is that this is a bigger deal. So I think they have to field as close to first choice as they possibly can. Obviously, you've got Kansas City, who is number 2 in the league overall, number 1 in the West. I don't know their injury situation off the top of my head. You're not going to risk anybody for the rest of the season who might be banged up. That will factor into it. Seattle tonight, for example. Nicolas Lodero, does he get a full run out, or is he still easing his way back in? NYC and Orlando are trying to fight their way up the table a little bit more. Are they going to be a little more careful with anybody injured? I think that all factors in here. Thank you, Jason Nix, on the Fanatis thing. fntz.co/soccer down here if you need your Ligue 1 and BN Sports and Goal TV and the Argentine League in Spanish and the Brazilian League in Portuguese and Tigo Sports out of Guatemala, so you can watch the Guatemalan League. You got Centro America TV, so you can get some Costa Rican action going as well. All kinds of stuff. Sam Williamson asks, how do you get chosen for Leagues Cup? It is down to the next teams in the table who didn't go to the Champions League. There might be another larger caveat to that, but roughly it is the MLS teams who did not go to Champions League. Mexico has their own formula for it. They do it, I think, a little bit differently where you can be in both. I hope it expands. That's the number one thing I want to see out of it, is I want to see it bigger. I want to see it over two legs. I want to see these games be a little more meaningful for the teams that do miss out on Champions League, so they get international competition, because it'll raise the level for everything else. 5 through 8 in the standings. Thank you, D. Graham. Ragamuffin on the PSG side of things, because we are getting closer to press conferences and things being done with Lionel Messi now that he has arrived in Paris. Ragamuffin says, has anyone asked or does anyone know who is going to captain PSG? Marquinhos has been the captain. I do know that much. I don't believe they would take it off of him. That would be weird, and I don't think they need to. I don't think Sergio Ramos is going to demand the captain's armband. I don't think Lionel Messi is going to demand it. Marquinhos at 27, one of the best center backs you're going to find. Keep it on him. He's the continuity. That would be my assumption. But how do you, if you are Mauricio Pochettino, integrate guys who have been captains in their teams? Lionel Messi, not a traditional captain. He's not going to be screaming in everybody's face. Sergio Ramos might. How do you make sure you have everybody on the same page and have a strong leadership structure? That won't be easy. But I think Marquinhos keeps the armband. It would make total sense. Jason Nix is rooting for Philadelphia to fail in the CONCACAF Champions League. Not MLS first. Want Atlanta to win it first. I'm not like hard and fast with rules on it. Philly is not exactly a well-liked team in Atlanta circles these days after the rivalry that was created in CONCACAF. Philly knocked Atlanta out. Jim Curtin had some comments about the former Atlanta United manager that we're not going to get to really follow up on, which is a little bit of a shame. Rivalries are good. And you don't have to like a team just because they're in MLS and support them against Club America. I don't know how many people are going to be actively rooting for Club America in that game. Maybe some will. I don't know. Maybe some will. That game's going to be at the Estadio Azteca on Thursday. 10 o'clock, it's FS1 and Univision and TUDN. The other first leg in CONCACAF Champions League semifinals is Monterrey hosting Cruz Azul tomorrow